Roll call, yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark Matt absent. Brower,
Here?
McLaren,
Here.
Wills,
Sure.
Okay. And then recitation of our mission. The DDA is dedicated to promoting economic revitalization, supporting local businesses, and preserving the natural and historic heritage of the village of Ortonville by using the 4-point Main Street approach. So we have our consent agenda with the minutes and the treasurer's report. I went through this earlier and I don't have anything.
We approve the consent agenda as established.
Support.
That's nice.
Vote on it. Vote.
all in favor.
Just all in favor.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, cool.
And then we have disbursements for August 2018. It's nice to see all the downtown dollars again. You know,
Yeah, very.
continues to be a good project.
What do we pay at the Gateway Center? What is that? What do we pay?
Electricity. The,
Lights to shine on it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the one at
No,
Mill
no.
and 15.
yes.
Oh. I need to get back to this one, don't I? Okay, so then we need a motion to,
I'll make the motion that we pay our bills in the amount of $1,277.26.
Support.
Brower,
yes.
McLaren,
Yes.
Wills,
Yes.
All right. And then now we're at business to come before the board, the annual evaluation workflow.
This is, I believe Matt Bailey brought this before the board previously. He emailed this to me, so this is the first time seeing it. As you recall, the objective is to take the new annual evaluation assessment and try and break it down into actionable items for committees or the board. So that's what's in front of you. So that we're not scrambling, the several weeks before the evaluation to come up with our answer to.
And I think Matt and I actually did do some assigning, because some of these were pretty clear cut as far as who they would belong to. So the goal today is for us to, I don't know, okay.
I don't know if it's an
I think we did go
update
through
or-
it and,
here, I can share.
Matt said at our last meeting to start thinking about what you and your committee would like to take on, what you feel you can take on. If I'm not mistaken, that's what we discussed at the last meeting. So I think, and I can't speak on Matt's behalf since he's not here, but I think the intent is to start
yes, it
as soon
is.
as possible.
That's exactly it. So what we can do is send out another email and ask for folks to sign up for things that need to be done.
So this would have been 2 meetings ago then. 'Cause he was
Is
not
that
here-
what it was?
He was not here at the last meeting.
Okay, 2 meetings ago then. I remember talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that would make sense because we worked on it before I
I was
Before you
just
Awesome.
left, yeah. Mhm.
peeking through the minutes again, and yeah, it must have been 2. Thank you, Wayne.
I will point out that the biggest one, or one of our largest challenges right now are the number of committee members that we have, or board members.
Board members.
I missed the ticket from him.
We really need to recruit. And as Matt had pointed out to me in one of our texts or email exchanges earlier in the week, was that they suggest, they being the Main Street organization, the Main Street MS, not Main Street, Oakland County, National Main Street, during our evaluation that we should have younger members.
We got one.
You do?
Do I count as younger?
25%? Right.
What is younger? What's that threshold?
I think they were
Changes every
looking.
year. Yeah, right?
That's true. I don't think they had a specific, but just more
No,
of
no.
it. And
More
so I have,
More young family type.
yes. And so I was reading in the Ortonville paper, The Citizen, yesterday, and saw that kindergarten enrollments are up substantially. And they've continued to climb. So one thought I had was, what if we sent something out to the schools to give to, I know the school system has allowed us to put flyers into kids' packets that go home, that maybe we could solicit. They're probably younger parents at that point. I don't want to be too generalized, but
Typical.
Yes.
A typical kindergarten parent is a younger parent.
and we might be able to get some younger folks that way.
I do have contacts with the are they PTA now or PTO? Everywhere's different.
Yeah.
Board members for both Harvey Swanson and Oakwood. Sorry, which is Oak Tree. I always want to say Oak Tree. For Harvey Swanson and Oakwood, I have contacts with their presidents as well as several of the other board members. So the president, I believe at Harvey Swanson, informed me this year that their goal this year is to become more community oriented rather than just school oriented.
Aha.
So
That's good.
that was a nice conversation I had with her. So that's certainly a route
Okay.
we could look into. And
So Matt and I can come up with something in our next board meeting. Okay.
And I think that comes from the top on down. Last time we met Dr. Outlaw,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that their committee, what do they call that committee? Do you recall? With Brian Moore and,
Yeah.
I don't know if it has a name,
Mr. Moore's a good guy.
so.
Okay.
It did. Seemed like they were referring
But we haven't
to
met
it.
since then, have we?
No.
We may try to, and just rolling here, attend one of their meetings and present to them
Mm-hmm.
some sort of proposition of collaboration.
We did that with Creek Fest, remember? Went actually into the school board meeting and presented.
Right, but I mean the actual PTA meetings.
That'd be great. Okay.
Yeah, find out when they meet. I
Yeah.
could help there. Because there are, we have opportunities, as we've done in the past, at Christmas in the village, where we co-opt with the elementary schools, and they drew pictures on all the bags. So if you remember that, that was back a few years ago.
And I think that collaborating with the schools is only going to be in our favor.
So we need to do that in advance so that the art people in the different buildings and grade levels have a heads up, so they can work it into their curriculum.
Okay. Anything that you want to add? Other than this is a priority? Okay. Okay, and then our operations report.
It's included in your packet. I'll entertain any questions that you have on any of these items. A couple things I'll bring up. You are aware of that we did get the grant in support of the efforts to build a farmer's market. We have also applied for a Genesis Credit Union grant It's focused on business startups, pop-ups, things like that, and our retail challenge project is what we applied for consideration. Similarly, we received a technical assistance visit from Main Street, Oakland County each year as a select level community. But they have decided to modify that program a little bit. The last two tech visits we received last fall was the market analysis and business recruitment. The year before that, it was the community engagement sessions designed to help us begin to develop a strategic plan. So those were the last two. And what John Bry had indicated to me as we started talking through this was they don't want to just produce a report that sits there. If there are other ways that this effort can assist the organization, they want to be flexible. One example that they provided was Rochester used their technical assistance visit to attend a conference in New York City on placemaking. And when you boil it down, the value of the technical assistance is $6,500 a year. So we essentially have the ability to play with that. Knowing that we have indicated our interest in kind of adopting or leading a project out of the new master plan, I asked the question, do we save, or are we able to save some of these resources, carry them over into the next year? And they indicated absolutely. So we essentially have requested $4,500 in financial support towards a retail challenge, and save $2,000 of that technical assistance, carry it over to next year, add it to next year's technical assistance that could be used to help push through a project that will come out of the new master plan.
Now, this program is a calendar year, correct? It's
Their
not
fiscal year is October 1.
Okay.
This is the technical assistance program.
Yep.
So the intent then is to use that money.
So we have a
It's
50/50
direct.
match for that grant program.
Right, so, but it's direct support, so that's money they will give us for a project, basically.
Qualified project.
Right.
And what they do, so for example, taking the retail challenge and how we had to identify specific things that they could support, one of the incentives for the winner of the retail challenge is some business consulting service. So whether it's social media marketing or it's a on-site business consultant, Main Street Oakland County will contract with that person as opposed to giving us the money and paying this person. So, and one thing I need to point out, the layers of contracts here. This technical assistance comes from the National Main Street Center through Main Street Oakland County to the communities. So Main Street Oakland County contracts with the National Main Street Center for our technical assistance. And then Main Street Oakland County will support us directly and establish contracts with some of the vendors that we may be using for the project.
Again, that's wise. That's wise, I believe, because some of the naysayers with respect to DDAs think that monies that are appropriated are misused. So when it's a direct involvement, then they're going to know, and they can tell politically that it is used and is used wisely for the proper things. So
I think this is great.
yeah, it's a good format.
A lot of good stuff we've been working on. Anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay. Committee project reports.
I don't have anything in the packet related to these. This was just an opportunity if we had specific projects coming that we want to update folks on.
You look at me.
So we're all done with the operations report?
Unless you have any other questions.
I was just thought you were going to go through it item by item. Okay.
Okay. Septemberfest, DDA role.
Do you have any updates on anything that you want to cover with projects?
Well, just to update everyone, we had the dedication ceremony for the rock garden. It was roughly 20 to 25 people there. County Commissioner Mike Spiz was there. It was great. We had a good time, and it was beautiful. Then Eats in the Streets 2 is this Thursday. Could certainly use all the help and support from anyone who is available. I technically have class that night, so it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot on how that kind of goes.
What type of help are you looking for?
Just to be on hand if anything arises with the trucks, if they need anything, or, you know, if we got to get someone to empty a garbage or something. We obviously don't want, you know, we had a gracious donor of time and help for Eats in the Streets 1, which I have not been in contact with them for Eats in the Streets 2 yet to find out if they're able, but Chestnut Landscaping Lawn Service.
Yeah.
They donated their time and what are those called? It's not a go-kart. It's a
Golf cart?
bigger than that. It's like a
gator?
Yeah. And they went around and emptied all our garbage cans.
Wow.
Nice.
Periodically, took all the garbage down to the dumpsters at the DPW garage.
Jeremy Chestnut.
Yes. And took care of all the garbage for me so that at the end of the night, there was no cleanup except to put
Nice.
my stuff away. So that was really nice. But so just things like that. Nothing.
So he's not been.
I have spoken with Jeremy periodically, but I have not spoken to him specifically regarding Thursday's event, which I will reach out to him today to see if he is available, or maybe if he can send me one of his guys in exchange for some sponsorship recognition, as we did the first time. We'll shout out to him on Facebook and whatnot. So, other than that, the trucks will be arriving at 2. Party starts at 5. I'm gonna have a fish and chips truck, which is a new development. Just got in touch with them over the weekend, so I'm excited about that one. But other than that, Witches Night's cruising along. about all I have, I guess.
How the sales going on the mead?
30.
Well,
30 of the 50 tickets.
That's really great.
yeah, I'll be there Thursday.
Yeah? Thanks.
Not sure what time that,
Taking pictures and,
I'll do that too, but.
okay.
What,
And if you have pictures of the rock garden, if
I
you
do.
took pictures, send me some.
I do.
that's
I
cool.
thought that Judy's husband was taking video. Phew, he was not. But he took some really great pictures, so I will get those over to you.
Excellent.
I think that's it, unless anyone has any questions.
What are we doing as a DDA for the September Fest? Anything?
That's our next item.
Well, I thought we started that already. Yeah.
No, we had stepped back to project and updates, so. September Festival, we have 2 tables,
Um,
or 1 table and a tent.
The original thought was the picnic table and bench project, decorating tables and benches. Several people have worked on a picnic table, a bench, and a mini picnic table, a
Is that
little,
one still
little
here?
people's table. Yeah, it's actually out in the lobby.
Oh,
It's really cute.
That project is a public art project to decorate these items. And so the thought was that the DDA would have a booth where we were showcasing these, and then an opportunity to, engage the public and tell them what's happening with the DDA, things that are happening. That would require that we have people at a booth passing out materials, talking about projects, that sort of thing. I don't know if we're capable of doing that now with the limited number of people.
Yes,
So
we are.
it's
Yeah.
up to,
Yeah, we're ready to go. I have high school volunteers, 2 of them will be there. One's gonna be there all day, the other 2 will split 3 and 3 hours. And then I will take 2 hours, Tony will take 2 hours.
and that's great. So what is your suggestion on how we bring them up to speed?
I will take the first shift,
what time does it start?
10.
How late does it go?
I have volunteers till 3.
I think that's wind down time is 3, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The 10 to
There's
10.
some stuff that goes till 5, but
Yeah, 10 to 5.
10 to 5?
I think it's pretty specific stuff that goes till 5. It's event type stuff.
Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And you're taking the first shift?
I will
Your
take the
2
first
hour
shift.
looking at it or whatever? roughly?
Yeah, and I will, so the person the high school student who will be there all day, I'll be able to run down everything with them, as well as the first, person, the first shift student. And then, depending on how, I gotta set it up, I don't have the schedule written down yet, which is on my list here for things to talk about with Nat today, but, Tony will take a shift as well. Judy, the brains behind the rock garden, would like to take a shift as well. So, and anybody else, is absolutely welcome to come and take a shift. Even I didn't want to suggest anybody be there all day. So that's with Judy and
Shifts are
Tony,
easier,
I
yeah.
talked about just like a couple hours, and I thought a 2-hour shift would be no big deal for anybody to come and hang out for 2 hours. When you're talking to people in town, 2 hours is nothing when you're hanging out and interacting with the crowds and stuff. So, but I don't see any reason that we can't man it for the day. We have rock painting starter kits to hand out as well.
So you'll have flyers or something like that, or what are we thinking as far as letting them know what we're working on? Yeah?
Yeah. We'll have,
Sorry, Matt, that's on my list to talk to you about today. I didn't mean to throw a wrench in your...
several, as well as opportunities for people to get involved, support.
That's great. Can we solicit for board members
You
too?
can have a volunteer sign-up sheet for sure.
And maybe something that, are you interested in becoming a board member kind of thing?
We've had really great success this year with getting the high school volunteers, and they've been a tremendous help. They're always ready to jump in and whatever I ask them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's great.
it's been good.
Okay.
So contact me if any of you would like to take a shift, even if you can just come for an hour or whatever.
I may be able to, I just need to. I would love to. Anything else as far as our role with the DDA?
Already got volunteered up the yin yang. I'm eating pie and.
Oh, I see. I
I have
see.
to, thank goodness.
Somebody was just asking me who the judges were.
You know, there were 23 entries last year.
Oh, there are.
I see his face.
Gosh,
Get in.
that's a lot.
Yeah, a bite of each one.
That was me.
Oh, geez.
Oh, did you do it last year, Matt?
That's
Like
funny
full
face.
I'm not having breakfast before
23,
I
I
come.
mean, look at it.
And there's
Oh,
We
man.
need more judges.
I was sharing the info all over Facebook this weekend, and there was a pretty big interest in the pie making contest. Lots of questions
Good.
and who's judging and how do I enter?
Yeah, how do we bribe them?
Yeah.
I've lost about 20 pounds since I broke my leg, and I'm like,
Want to keep it
Uh-oh.
up?
gonna gain
Put
about
it back on.
15 back.
Just from that. Anything else with the DDA role?
That's really it, is just
Okay.
having their presence.
Okay.
Now, have we talked about at all, doing any kind of cooperative advertising reimbursement to anybody and everybody at all, or not? For this whole activity? In any way, shape, or form?
Our merchant grant program reimburses,
I'm talking about the overall, whether it's the Brandon Parks and Recs or the Lions Club or anybody.
no. Based on last meeting, the thought was people were gonna get together and
And look at
collaborate
next
on that. I have not heard of any of that.
Okay, there's been some collaboration. I didn't know whether the expense, and the advertising is already coming out, and it's, I think, well done. But I didn't know whether we were going to help support financially.
Oh, we are involved in that we have our own ad,
Right, I saw that.
but
We
I read
paid for our own
something
portion. That's what you're saying? Because that was a whole big page on everything, and we had the
We had a square or whatever.
I don't know what size that was,
Street.
but
It was very nicely done though.
Mhm.
yeah. So we paid for
Hold
our
that.
portion though.
The reason why I bring this up is that come next year, I really do not want this to leave the downtown.
Well, I read, was it in the paper where everyone?
So, I mean, if it
met?
ends up out at the park out there, then it will not, definitely will not be a DDA
Yeah.
associated project in any way, shape, or form.
I don't
Fred
think
had talked about that, but I don't think he.
Fred has any intentions of moving.
Well, I think it must have been in the paper that I read it, where everyone met and talked about the Lions, Parks and Rec, and DDA working together, collaborating for next year, and it sounded.
Was
like
that?
it was-
I don't get the paper
I think it
anymore,
was-
so I
It was
don't
in the
know, but
minutes. It was in your minutes.
Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
I know I read it, I just.
That was
remember
what Ed's suggestion at the last meeting, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, right.
But we gotta make it happen. and it's gotta happen
Well, it's
sooner
for
rather
next,
than later.
well, it's for next year, so we
Yeah,
have a
but
little
this-
bit of time.
So I guess
Which
my
is-
question-
I would
Which is
like that.
Witch's Night Out starts planning in January. I mean,
Understand,
so.
we did that with Creek Fest, we
Yeah.
took 1 month off, and then we started right back up.
So
Yeah.
larger question is, the role of the DDA in the September Fest overall program, whether it's a 1 day or a 3 day or whatever the case is going to be what?
Mhm.
What are we doing? How are we, if we're not going to spearhead it, which is what we decided to do, then we're not going to be point on it, then what are we going to do? Just have a booth? Are we going to support, reimbursement dollars only? Or are we going to do any advertising for the downtown, or what is our function? That's my question.
So I think
That's for the board to
yeah,
decide.
we would just have a conversation within our committees and then bring some proposals forward.
I'd love to see us as involved as, I don't wanna say Fred will allow, but.
Well, it's not just Fred.
Well, our
you know,
promotions committee could be
Right.
very involved, design could be very involved. I mean, the economic revitalization committee could be involved as far as helping promote our local businesses. I mean, so each of those committees should have some
Absolutely,
discussions and should bring forward proposals.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What does that look like? I mean, do people have examples of what that looks like, or do you have something that you're leaning towards that?
Yeah, you hinted at something there.
Well, I'm just talking about, even though there's deeply discounted advertisements going in, there still is an expense there. But I don't care who it is.
Sure.
Whether or not
It's
we
very
are going,
expensive.
we are going to help augment some of those expenses or not is my question.
We do have
And I don't care what the organization is.
We do have an existing program that would reimburse Parks and Rec or the Lions Club up to $250. And one of the qualifying expenses is a citizen ad.
So do we just need to let them know that, remind them that that program is in place? Have them submit? So if you wanted to let the Lions Club know,
I'll let them know, because we're having to pay full boat for shuttle service this year. We haven't got that far. I can talk about what the Lions Club is doing and how they're doing it.
And it relates to September Fest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they're starting Thursday in conjunction with the Eats in the Streets. There's going to be a cornhole or beanbag toss tournament on that Thursday evening. So that's going to be held over here behind the fire hall. And but on Friday, the Lions Club is hiring the smart buses. We have to hire them, they're not free, to move people around. And the carnival also starts on Thursday. Again, moving people from Harvey Swanson Elementary, keeping the parking lot at the former Fletcher building open to people who want to visit the carnival, and also keep it somewhat open for handicap accessibility. And then having the smart buses, we've got a small van and a large van. We went to the school district, and while they wanted to help, their hands are kind of tied. And they did come up with a discounted rate, which was twice the township's rate. So it wasn't we're talking $1,000 just to move people around. The Lions Club's going to pay. So that's
All 4 days?
You don't have to pay during Septemberfest though, right?
no,
During the hours of
Fred, the Parks and
Septemberfest.
Recs are picking up that portion. So basically,
It's a breakdown.
the Lions Club's wrapping all the way around the Saturday activities.
mhm.
We're wrapping around on Thursday and on Friday, and then again on Saturday evening, because as soon as 5 o'clock rolls around, Fred's done, and so the Lions Club comes in and Carnival will be operating until late. Beer tent's opening until late, and then, so we want the transportation. We're gonna make the same loop that is on the Fred's loops, the township rec department loop, with various stops around the downtown area. So, so for all intents and purposes, it looks like Septemberfest is only a Saturday, but in reality, it's going all around it, wrapped around from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, including Saturday evening, and then Sunday. And then Sunday, the tent is open again, the carnival's still going, and then there's a professional cornhole tournament for the pros. We have a $2,000 purse that's being given out, and so yeah. So there's things going on. It's just that when we talk about coordination, it wasn't done this year, and Fred has his thing, and we had our thing. We'd be in the Lions. So my question is, the larger question is, what is the DDA's role and going to be this year and moving forward?
Sure.
Because the Lions Club cannot cost effectively have a one-day beer tent.
Right.
Sure.
Because we spend upwards of $1,000 for licenses and insurance. We spend probably another $1,000 on entertainment. So I mean, that's and I'm watching for the weather, and the weather
Sure.
may or may not be good. You never know. It's all weather dependent.
Right.
So it's.
Well, and just to feed off that, if I may, Ed had approached me about doing the food trucks, which is where that
Ed who? Ed.
Ed.
Ed Albertson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, my guy Ed.
Okay.
Back right after the first one,
Mhm.
he said, "Wouldn't it be great?" And I said, "It sure would." And Tony said, "Yeah, let's do it." And so that's how Eats in the Streets 2 came about.
Excellent.
So just so we all know that I consider that to be the Lions Club approaching me, asking me
Right.
to help out in that
And that's,
regard.
That's
And
correct. That's correct.
that's how I took it, and I ran with it. So I want that
Yep.
out, and not that it was a secret or anything like that, but I want it just to be known that that was a collaborative effort there.
So that was a DDA function.
Yes,
You
and
did it as a DDA.
Eats in the Streets, yeah.
Yes, okay.
And it has been, we have the event page on Facebook. We have been advertising that the Lions Club is having the beer tent rally the beer tent and the carnival all 4 days. That the food truck rally is only on Thursday. That Septemberfest is only on Saturday, but the beer tent and the carnival is Thursday through Sunday. I mean, we have been
When you
promoting
say we,
it.
you're talking about
Tony and
social media.
Tony and I on Facebook, yes.
On Facebook.
Mhm. And that's where the food truck rally event page is, and that's where, we're at like 1,100 people have responded to the event. So,
Yeah, so it's being done in a different format, so.
yeah.
And it's still
It's just
mentioned
not,
on the website too.
it's not been entirely collaborative. There's been no sit down other than at our last
Right.
board
But
meeting.
I think that's part of, I
Moving
think that's
forward.
a sign of our new approach, where before work was done during board meetings, now work is done in committee meetings and is reported to the board meetings. So I think that's why you're maybe feeling like there's not as much involvement, and it's not maybe that it really isn't that.
I haven't worked
Well,
directly with any of the Lions Club.
I'll say this,
So there's that.
a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we did, as an organization, did not say Septemberfest is coming up, here's how we want to be involved and engaged. So whether that's the promotions committee or whatever committee would be involved, as like Wayne's saying, let's think about this now so that next year at this time we have already outlined a
Plan of action.
plan, a strategy, our assessment of what our role for Septemberfest could be, and then work with the two organizations or more who are involved.
Well, the same can be said for Christmas in the Village.
With any event, really. I mean,
I mean, I brought that up, what, February?
Mm-hmm.
I think that too, we've also done a lot of things this year that I don't believe have been done in the past. Event-wise specifically, but, you know, there's a lot more. And since I've been here, you guys have talked a lot about, you know, thinking bigger and thinking differently and thinking, you know, different ways than what has been done in the past. So I think that taking that into consideration moving forward will be easier to plan ahead a little bit because we know what is working and what, you know, is drawing people downtown. You've got the downtown dollars, you've got the events that we've been hosting, you've got the, you know, all this stuff that is working and that our businesses are loving and that we can, you know, plan for in the future a little bit better. And that's just my read on it. So.
Excellent. Thank you. So, so I guess that's kind of a nutshell. The Masonic Lodge is doing a breakfast on Saturday morning too, as well. And I just texted them. I think it starts at 7:30. It starts early.
Okay.
So the vendors that are setting up, or any of the workers, or anybody can come in.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think it's going to run like 7:30 to 10 or 11 in the morning.
Pancake breakfast.
I have no idea what they're serving.
Yes,
Is that what it
Go
is?
with the
Yes.
flag.
Did you have a time on it by chance?
I will get that for you in just a minute. Keep going. I gotta look it up.
Sorry. you just
So
responded.
Bill, are the DPW staff engaged and to what extent and what kind of timelines are they engaged to assist on any of these activities? Do you have, are we
We haven't
only as asked
scheduled,
or
only as asked, we haven't scheduled extra hours for Saturday or anything like that.
Thursday
You know, maybe, maybe,
We can talk before I leave.
okay.
The pancake breakfast is 7 to 11
There you go.
at the Masonic Lodge.
Right.
$8 for all you can eat pancakes, sausage, eggs, juice, milk, and coffee.
There you go. It is pancakes.
We, you know, anytime we see, and we being Tony and I, because we basically run the downtown Ortonville page. Anytime we see events like that, beer tent,
You grab it?
we grab it, we start sharing it all over the
Okay.
place. So, you know, I put that out there as a DDA effort on behalf of downtown Ortonville and the DDA, that we work to advertise anything and everything that comes up downtown, be it our event or not.
Excellent.
Like Thursday, for example, we will do like we did the last time, and the very last thing they did before they left that day was go around and empty all the trash barrels to make sure that all the trash barrels are all clean, you know, so that they didn't get loaded up, and then the person she had kind of cleaned up afterwards and left all the bags over at DPW, real bad and stuff.
Is the DPW crew going to also set up all of the picnic tables on Pond Street? Move them around?
We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, we'll have to talk afterwards, I guess, you know.
It's on my list.
And
I promise.
And I'm presuming that this has happened in the past.
At the last Eats in the Streets, you mean?
Oh yeah, well, Eats in the Streets
Well,
or
Septemberfest.
Septemberfest.
and-
Oh, okay.
They bring like 6 or 8 of them and they line them right up on Pound Street.
They're well aware Septemberfest is coming. It's more, probably, they have probably better knowledge than I
probably
do
know.
of
Okay.
it, so.
And then again, the time that they're going to do it. Are they going to do it on Thursday or just only on Saturday? That's the question.
yeah,
So,
we'll find out.
let me ask you this. What time's the tent being, when's the tent being delivered?
Wednesday.
Wednesday night. or
Wednesday
afternoon?
Wednesday afternoon, 10 will be up.
Okay, so when I talk with my good friends over here about getting tables set up for Thursday, the tent will already be there and I'll
Yes.
be able to plan accordingly.
Yes,
You guys will only have tables inside the tent, correct?
correct.
Okay. And that parking spot behind Rogers,
Mhm.
are you utilizing that?
I'm not sure, we may have some of the, that's gonna be outside of the legal fenced-in area for serving libations.
Right.
And so, in the past, what we've had some people that are important to do logistics, club members park there, and we've also expanded that to do some of the cornholing activities there. So I'm not sure about that.
Can you find out for me?
Ed would know that.
I have the
Ed Elverson would know that.
I have the racing simulator guy that was here for the fireworks event coming.
Racing simulator.
He's got a big trailer and he's got
The big funny car that,
the simulator. You
He
can
was
go
parked
inside
with
the
the
trailer
food
and you
trucks.
can.
Video game.
It's like a big video game, and 10 of you go in and you race with your buddies, and it's like $5 and you get 10 minutes to race.
when is he coming?
On Thursday.
Oh, okay,
So I just want to know where you guys would like me to put him.
okay.
So if you could find that out for me.
Has that been conveyed to Ed?
No, I just got confirmation yesterday that he is 100% coming.
On Thursday?
During
afternoon?
during the food truck rally.
Okay.
And I will put him wherever you guys would like him.
What is he called?
Virtual racing. I gotta find the.
Racing simulator?
Mm-hmm.
Simulate.
He did really well at the fireworks event, and I figured, hey, guys drinking beer, let's go race cars, right?
Hopefully not.
That's what I think in
Hand
the
in hand,
simulator.
anyway.
In the simulator
In the
will be better. And he's a local guy. He's just right out of Goodrich, and he runs it. He has his trailer, and he comes up and
That's cool.
$5 for virtual raceways. $5. You get 10 minutes to race with your buddies, and sometimes he has a grand prize. It's not monetary. Last time I think it was like one of those really expensive RC cars. So
Okay,
if you don't mind finding out where
I
you
will.
guys would like me to put him,
I will.
then I can let him know.
Very good.
And it's a pretty big. How big would you say that trailer is?
Probably a 20 to 24. But he needs power too, right?
He will have his own generator. I had a lot of confirmations going on this weekend, so.
Good enough. So that's about it in a nutshell.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? Any additional business?
Oh, and Matt and I talked about the arrows on the signs. You were not at the last meeting. Any other feedback, or did you get a hold of Tanya at Paramount?
Did not yet. No. And I've not had any other comments from anybody on it.
We only had one negative comment, and that was from, was it Tony? Or you had a comment? You had a negative comment?
We both just said that we could do better.
How?
Better looking. We like the idea.
Right.
We both just said it could be better looking.
Okay.
But it's hard. It's hard to. You're like drawing in an arrow. You know, it doesn't match up with the sign.
That's
you
the
know?
idea. The idea is to have it stick out.
Well, sure. But
so, I mean, it's
a
both.
cartoon picture on a real life picture doesn't look how it will really look. You know what I'm saying? So it just looked like it could be better. Was all.
You know, years ago, you may not remember this, so I know we will. The Burma Shave signs,
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay, where every 100 yards there was this little sign. about like this. Where it would be, going down M15 and let's say in both directions, directing people, somehow the wording would direct them into Ortonville downtown. Are you looking up Burma Shave?
I know I get crap for being on my phone all the time, but like I'm looking it up, so I know what you're talking about.
I think they were a red background with white lettering.
Yes.
I would see them. Yeah.
Yeah. Typically, it was like a haiku or a poem or something.
They still do them a
dealt
lot in the
with-
South when people
Right.
have roadside stands.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the redneck areas.
I'm gonna get too technical on it there.
So the idea was not to have it blend in, but to have it
Right.
stick out.
No.
Have it stick out.
Right.
And so,
But you see what I mean? How it just looks a little fun because it's like drawn in.
well, it is. It's drawn in on a computer-generated
That
basis.
CGI. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So, the arrows, I thought that those arrows were kind of weak. I thought that they should be even bigger. But, in relation to the sign,
I worry that you wouldn't be able to read downtown necessarily, but
well, the sign, welcome to
you might
Ortonville.
want it larger, maybe, I don't know.
And the whole premise for all this goes back to a friend of mine who just passed away, and her son grew up in the area, and but in Clarkston and then Lake Orion. And he was back in town for his mother's funeral from New York State, and he drives up and down M15, and he had no idea that there was downtown Ortonville, and he grew up in Clarkston. He had no idea. I mean, he drives it. I said, really?
That's where the gateways really are
Yeah.
crucial.
Well, those are signs that we just took over from the old Chamber of Commerce, and the one of them that faces the one that has the poorest from that picture, the one that has the poorest condition is the one that faces to the south, and that's the one that's across from McPhee's. I think that's the one by your left hand there.
Yeah, by the middle school.
And it takes a beating from the sun, and it needs to be probably repainted. And that's the one that we'd like to steer people going northbound, kind of not down Granger Road by having a hard right turn, but a little bit of a 45-degree angle down South Street. And so wayfaring, this is part of the wayfaring, find your way here, and whoever finds their way that way is just going to be farther ahead as it moves forward. So,
I think,
and these are like, just to have that, and this was a permanent composite that maintains that the color is not painted on; it's embedded in the composite material, and you just bolt it onto the existing sign. I mean,
okay,
that's all it is.
That's the aluminum stuff.
It's not really aluminum, it's a composite material. And it's $200 a sign. So that's, I thought, well, that's pretty cheap. Anything we can do to steer people who don't have the slightest idea, it's not just A&W.
I've been thinking about this because
Thoughts?
I should say just now this came to mind, and it's based off a conversation we had at the listening session about wayfinding signage. What if we just do one? I mean, it's $200. It is an expense, and I'm not suggesting, that this exercise is a temporary one. But why don't we just do one and see? Because we're trying to visualize.
And $200, I mean, that's not that much money.
Right. And it may cause us to say we want to tweak it a little, we want to change, or we may say, it's not. It's exactly what we want, and go with it on the rest of them.
So the question is, do you make it larger in proportion to the sign, the existing sign? Do you put verbiage on it or not? Just have a sign that's got an arrow there.
What if you made the whole sign an arrow?
You could.
I mean, may I write on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
I know it's a little bit lighter, but if we actually did the arrow like this, so that it's,
Right.
and I also would consider or suggest maybe considering, or I would suggest that we consider changing the colors, because this really blends in to the background.
Yeah, the frame does, yes. And again,
I
that
think
was not of our design to begin with.
Right.
It was
But if
Chamber
we're
of
looking
Commerce.
at it, I mean, we could look at it and, I mean, maybe, because I'm thinking about, like, with our powered locally or whatever, I mean, something that would really be more vibrant and stand out or something, or go with more old-fashioned, kind of like what we've talked, I don't know.
See, these were, and again, we're talking about not only these signs, but other signage along Oakwood coming in. But those are more of a long-term project that we would need to take more time and have a, we were going to coordinate our signage to be the same throughout the village, as opposed to this, but this is already here, and to.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I just think, what if you, instead of doing this, and I don't know, again, just throwing it out there, but what if instead of this, just turn it all into
One
an arrow?
large
A big arrow, put a
Just
tail on the
put
other
your
end.
big triangle here, and if I would
tail on
change
the
the
other
color, maybe outline
Yeah.
this in white or something so that it is clear that it's an arrow. But now that's really clear to me. Instead of if I'm driving by and I don't happen to read what this says up here, I don't know what that arrow really means necessarily.
Right.
So I think Tony said something about putting the word downtown above it. Because the gateway sign we have right now, I think the downtown is the bottom of the sign, right?
Mm-hmm, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, you know,
And that was done
Yeah,
by,
you just did a bright contrasting color, you know, whatever. Oh yeah, downtown, I like that.
Still like that, right, Wayne?
Yeah.
And it's black pen, you can't really see it, but
yeah.
make it a little bigger
But
on
maybe
the
So
have
top.
that all in
that's a
one
combination.
sign.
That's a combination of.
no, I can, if you add the same amount of space on the bottom to balance it out,
Right, right.
Yes, and do it in white or something
Right, with
vibrant
black
that will
lettering.
really pop.
Now
Now
that-
it's clearly an arrow.
Another thing that I'm reminded of as well, when the Chamber of Commerce did that, they sent an invoice to all of those people who had their signs on there for $25 a year.
Yes.
And the Lions Club has paid that $25, which would go a long ways to planting
flowers.
flowers
maintaining.
or maintaining it.
And I bet you could get a women's gardening group that would do
The-
something.
The township has, several years ago, a husband and wife moved back to Ortonville. And they maintain the garden around the Brandon Township signs.
You know
Voluntarily.
who they are?
It'll be real easy to find out. I'm
How
sure.
about if I do a mock-up
That'd be great.
to that?
Can we do that and email it to everyone and handle it that way?
Yeah.
I don't know if our
Um,
bylaws allow for that.
Let me take a look at the sign up front on the middle,
Well,
15
we could
sign.
take a vote now and say we're willing to spend the money on a sign. And then that way
Now,
if we
is
like
that
that
a
design.
sign is going to be one complete sign or just the add-on background to it?
I would say for now,
For now, just the
that
add-on.
add-on, yeah.
Okay.
And then we could, I think we need to give it more thought and really,
Well,
I would just like to
nowhere
see
there
it
doesn't-
tie
Other than the
in
established
everything downtown.
1848, it should have downtown, Ortonville downtown.
Yeah.
Welcome to.
Yeah, I like it on top,
I do too.
and I like the arrow. I like your idea.
See, and that's kind of what I think Tony and I were both getting at. We could just do more, better. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even if it's just a temporary fix, it could be a little better.
Yeah.
But you see what happens when your signage and
Right.
everything is too low
Right.
because your shrubs grow
Right.
and they cover things up.
Right, so
I
we're
wouldn't put
paying
any
for that one in
greenery
the
around
middle.
that.
Yeah.
I would,
No, because the sign's green. Everything's green. Everything behind it's green.
Mhm.
Green, green, green. It just blends.
Right.
it
That's
really
why
But-
we
does.
seen at our shed green.
But there's contrast, though. I mean, the verbiage.
The
is-
red. And
There
the yellow,
is.
Yes.
But I would still make that whole thing just pop. And I think,
Okay, can I
So
take it with
Yeah.
you could do the red, have the
He's jumping
Take
at
the
bit.
existing red and have the
Well,
red arrow extension.
The problem with red on a sign, if it's painted on, it fades.
Well,
And same with vinyl, it'll fade.
that's why that material is embedded. It's not, Tanya would know
Yeah.
the answer, but it's,
So we're good with having
Doesn't
Rick
fit.
do a mock-up of
Because
what
this
we're
is just a
talking about
plywood
here.
sign.
Yes.
that's all it is.
Mhm.
That's a 4x8 sheet of marine plywood that's been painted.
Yeah, and painted.
And then,
Nothing fancy.
She could do, if you did a whole new sign with a 5x10 piece of plywood, okay? So you have room for the arrow as a one-piece unit.
Mhm.
She could do the lettering in a reflective type material,
Reflective's even better.
okay? So it stand out a little bit more. I mean, that's one of the options.
And then again-
Silver, gold, fluorescent, green, yellow, whatever.
And then eventually, do we want those lit?
I like that idea too. That was.
You know,
eventually, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, there's some long-term
Not,
things
not
there.
just the light shining on them, but
Yeah.
lit internally somehow, I think.
Oh,
So
box,
just,
You gotta be careful with, our sign ordinances and things.
right.
Well, both those signs are located not in the village.
Sure, then you gotta follow
about
the
the township,
townships.
yeah.
Well, the one is actually Groveland Township. The one southbound by
At the cemetery.
by Brandon Chiropractic, that's in Groveland Township, and the other one is in
So before.
Brandon Township, and then I was thinking in terms of having one coming down the hill from Grange Hall Road as you come into town, and that's also
Mhm.
Groveland Township. So we'd have to, those are more long-term fixes,
Right, yeah,
okay?
right.
And
Not for today, but yeah, definitely in the future.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see a mock-up and
Yeah,
make a
let me do a
decision.
mock-up. I'd be-
And I'm not sure, now that you bring it up, Courtney, that if we enlarge the sign, if that's considered enlarging the sign from a signage square footage standpoint,
I think we could easily get a variance.
I think so too.
but, you know,
It wouldn't be a hardship variance necessarily, but I think in the spirit of inter-municipality cooperation and things like that, if that were the case, I think that getting a variance
Well,
to enlarge the sign would be,
A sheet of plywood though,
And I'd be
standard
happy to
size
handle
is
that.
4x8.
I know,
Just,
but
so
you
it might
can
be.
get up to 5x10, I already know that.
Okay, awesome, I just wasn't sure. It's like, I don't know how hard that would be.
But it
So,
would be
cool.
exterior signage material, the plywood that they use,
Okay,
so.
cool.
but
Actually, what I like on
I
here
think
is the
we
white
wait-
lettering.
wait
on
to
the
make
back-
a decision
back
though
background.
until Rick can make a
I do
mock-up.
too.
Yeah, I didn't, the whole idea was to have this happen quickly. The overall signage issue is a long-term
Right,
project that,
right.
we could
So what I'll
Like
do
to
is I'll
we could
do
take forever to do that.
Or we could
Absolutely.
just add to
I'll
the
bet.
existing maybe? Is
well,
that,
depending on how, if it's all set up like this in the back,
It
then
can be
you
bolted
can
on.
easily bolt it on the
Bolted on,
background.
okay,
And then at that point, then if you wanted to do just a fluorescent light in between that so it shines, on the top and the bottom,
mhm,
I mean, it just illuminates it just the top and the bottom, but not what's on there, because it's between the two boards.
okay,
I think we need to look at this mock-up,
Yep.
get this done, get this
Mhm.
moving, and
Okay.
then look at lighting and things like that.
Okay.
Like Wayne said, it's a more long-term, down the road fix.
Now,
But
are we
certainly
still
need
gonna have
some
all the
arrow.
little signs on there too?
Yes,
Well, sure.
because they're paid for by those.
Well, but, again, we could
And they pay
send
you.
out a nice letter indicating that this is what we want to do, we want to upgrade, we want to do better signage
And
and
change the flowers.
change the flowers and have, so we're looking for help,
mhm.
so.
Would the board like me to use my powers to find someone to volunteer to maintain the flower bed?
Sure.
If we have folks that are already doing it, but what I'd like to do is I would like to formalize that though and have them present what they're thinking they're going to do
Sure.
before they do it.
And
'Cause I
one of them,
think
I think,
having
would
the
tear out the
plantings-
evergreens.
I would too, because I think that
Did you
that's.
say remove them?
Mhm,
Because it's covering up signage for people that are paying for it.
yeah.
If I was one of them, I'd be upset.
And the plantings
What I-
really should be more, like, here's your sign, and the plantings should run off the sides like this and not in front.
Depends what you put in front. If you put some low growing,
Low, but you're taller for sure.
Right.
But just to have them bring,
What I'll do is I'll say something that we're looking for, some volunteers to help update
Yeah,
and
you're awful quiet on
maintain
this.
the garden around the downtown Ortonville signs. And, see what I can come up with and see if,
oh, I like this.
You
My
need
mom
that?
may be interested in that too. The only thing is she travels a lot right now, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I
she
mean,
She
loves
did.
gardening.
yeah, I mean, I know lots of people
A retired
who
folks.
would be.
Oh, is this in our,
Yeah,
Same
I mean,
one
even
that's in
our
our
Girl Scouts and our Boy Scout troops, maybe they're interested in doing, you know, a weekend a month or something to come in and pull weeds and freshen things up and different things like that, so.
Fair enough.
Whose calendar is this?
Hours.
Village, what's it cover?
This is nice.
It's all the boards and then special events that we have.
So this is all
Everybody.
village-related activities.
Yes.
Harvey Swanson's on.
This is really nice.
Very nice.
I would like to
Most of this
say
is
before we
already
adjourn
done, but
too, that we're
Homecoming
still,
parade's not on my calendar anyhow.
we're still
Website.
looking for sponsors for Witches Night Out as well. If anybody has any friends, relatives, whatever, who may be interested
In sponsoring.
in sponsoring Witches Night Out, yeah, we're still looking for some more sponsors.
Matt, do you want all these things that I don't have on there, on the calendar on the website?
I think that would be good.
Like the Brandon Homecoming and,
I will also be absent from the October
know.
meeting.
Okay.
I've got the
I'm
carnival
back
out
in
there,
school, so Tuesday nights don't work for me.
September Fest. But I don't have the Spratt Farms on anything.
That is just a
Are
summer,
you-
yeah.
Are you better served by having meetings in the morning or?
Mornings are a little bit tougher. I can do them. Actually, it doesn't matter, really. It really doesn't matter. The alternating works, because then I'm not committed to one or the other. I have board meetings sometimes in the evening at work, and so either, because we have our medical executive committee meets, and then our governing board meets, and those have typically been evenings.
Well, and I'm not doing the township's minutes anymore, so Monday nights work for me as well.
Oh, you're not doing the board meetings?
So Courtney mentioned that she will not be able to attend October, you got that? And then I did want to also mention, and thank you for the reminder, about Jason and Jeremy Kratt. We received an email, I think, from them saying that they, due to their business expanding, that they are not going to have the availability of the time to remain as active board members.
Except for special projects.
So it's unfortunate. We really enjoyed having them on the board. They did a good job.
So we're back to square one. Do we have any possible
Well, I had hoped there would be
replacements?
2 potential candidates here this morning,
And they are?
not here.
Well, I know they're not. Who are they?
Debbie Baker and Kim McFall. Neither.
Debbie Baker.
Took a lot of convincing to get her to say that she would come to a meeting and see how she felt, but I had spoken with her in great detail. Mostly she's just been very busy as of late, but that she was willing to come and see where we're at and see what kind of projects we're working on and different things like that to see if she's ready to jump back in. She hopes to get back involved at some point, just isn't sure at what point that might be. So I had hoped that when I talked to her last, there was the intention that she would be here this morning, as well as Kim McFall, and that's probably on me. I didn't remind them over the weekend. But,
Who's Kim McCall?
well, her husband is John McFall, if that helps. They live,
They're the ones that he always did the barbecue cook-off in Creek Fest.
I
That
don't
name
know.
sounds really familiar. They have a bunch of boys, redheads.
yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, I know that name.
Bunch of redheads, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, their son was the one who.
He does lawn.
Interned here, last year.
And he does they do lawn cutting around, mostly in town, because Sean will drive the tractor to wherever he's got to go to mow.
Cute.
Yeah. But anyway, I had hoped that they would be here this morning. I have only reached out to village residents.
And we have a list in the org committee. I will, we'll be meeting, hopefully. I need to check in with Matt Bailey and see when he's available, and then we can meet and pull that list and share that. We'll send that out to everyone.
At the November village council meeting, I will need to be appointed to this board,
Okay?
because I will no longer be the CEO of the village council. And, well, it's my intention to stay on this board, and I could stay on as treasurer. So
Okay.
that's my intention, but I will need to be reappointed if council will reappoint me.
Okay.
Hey, I never thought I'd be here, so I think you'll be fine.
All depends on what I have to say.
So,
We'll let it ride for now.
we'll work on a flyer for the elementary school parents for recruiting purposes, but
Yes.
kind of everyone also talk to folks that you know. Do focus on some younger folks too, whatever that may be exactly.
The younger folks are also going to be hard because
They have less free time. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
mean, I
part
had to
of
make-
what our directive was, so we want to
Right,
at least make
absolutely.
that attempt.
absolutely, I think that it is a
It'll be a
wise
challenge.
endeavor, but it just keep in mind we're going to have to reach a
Can we
Big
identify
Um,
new residents in the village? Newly purchased homes, newly changed on the tax rolls, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, we could probably go through the assessor.
Yeah,
I
we'd
would
have to
imagine.
ask the assessor.
It'd be nice to reach out to these people. We don't have a welcome wagon program,
They're working on it,
okay?
Who's they?
the township and the school board.
Well, okay, so right now we don't have a welcome wagon program. And so if we had one, that would be easier to identify, but in the meantime, we could probably go to the tax rolls. See who has newly purchased property within the village.
6 months? Go back 6 months?
Yeah, whatever.
I could tell you there's a new resident at 880 now.
There you go. They can be reached out.
Within a year,
to,
I would say.
She has a
year.
monkey and a very large cat.
A monkey?
You didn't hear that from me.
But no kids? Is she young?
High schoolers, I think.
Oh, okay.
I didn't meet her. I just know that she has a monkey and a cat, and a very large cat. Like a large cat.
Like a tiger? Or
I said, they think they have problems
Monkey
with
and a
me fighting with
tiger
chickens.
and-
I'm like, this new lady's got a monkey and a cat.
Morning.
Like a lynx.
I put it on the counter.
Are you sure there's one on there? There's
He
two.
got it and he walked away.
Don't.
Wait,
Hey, hey!
I grabbed one because I thought there was.
what was I just gonna look up for you? Maybe Bill,
You're being that-
maybe Bill can, reach out, or I guess maybe Matt, but find out about the Welcome Wagon program.
We were invited by the school district to participate in that.
Sometimes
Okay.
they come up both ways, they'll come up.
Because,
I didn't realize that
Dana
they're
is,
also working with the township.
Dana is heading that program
Staying in
for
common?
the township.
There's nothing out there anyway, so that's what's in.
And the last meeting I was at was their August meeting, so I don't know any progress over the last month or so, but, month and a half or so, but they have that, they plan to roll it out. They're gonna have
Do they still sell that as a franchise? It used to be that,
The welcome, no, they're doing their own.
oh, okay.
It's not Welcome Wagon or whatever, but it is, they're gonna have a packet, and then they'll have volunteers for when they'll reach out a couple times and say, hey, we'd like to swing by with a little goodie basket from the town. And
Okay,
have a
that's
packet
something
and-
different, because when we met with the superintendent, they were actually using the firm Welcome Wagon.
oh, really?
They were generating lists of new residents for them,
Okay.
so.
And maybe they're still doing that. That's just not the way it sounded when Dana was talking about it. I'm sorry, Trustee DePalma, but I think it's certainly worth looking into if we can. They asked the township to do a whole page on township stuff, or even 2 pages. So I don't know. Maybe we can get in on that and get a page ourselves between village and DDO.
Well, as I
Give them
continue to
some
remind
dollars
people,
or something.
we are the township,
Absolutely.
so don't ever forget that.
Absolutely. But I think also as a separate entity, municipality, and especially with our own events going on that the township does not, it's not participate, but
Do not focus on it.
yeah, thank you. It would certainly behoove us to.
But if somebody says, well, it's gonna cost the township $2,000 to do a program, how much are you, the village, gonna contribute? We already are
Already do
contributing,
contribute to
so
that.
don't ever forget that.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Any final comments? I won't read through the calendar. I think we've covered a lot of it, but there are a lot of things going on. Anything you want to point out in particular, Matt? All right.
Lunch and Learn on 10th, what's the program?
It is something to the extent of making the most of the holiday season, email and social media campaigns.
Why are we switching from the library to the town hall? Just a question.
The library is doing a flood drive.
And we should utilize the old town hall as much as we can.
Okay.
That's why.
I agree.
Just send me the information on that.
I move that we adjourn.
All right.
May I have my yellow piece of paper?
You certainly may.